The great hall floated in space like a giant metal flower. Hundreds of ships surrounded it, each carrying representatives from different alien races. Inside, the chamber buzzed with strange voices speaking in languages that humans were still learning to understand. Captain Minu stood at the entrance to the main assembly room. His uniform was simple and clean dark blue with silver buttons. Next to him, Ambassador Lee adjusted her tablet, reviewing their presentation one last time. Behind them, a young woman named Park carried a data case. She looked nervous. "Ready?" asked quietly. Minu nodded, "As ready as we'll ever be." They walked into the chamber together. The room was enormous. Seats rose in circular tiers, filled with beings of every imaginable shape and size. Some had scales, others had feathers. Some breathed oxygen like humans, while others wore breathing apparatus that hissed and clicked. At the center of it all sat the High Council, 7 beings who led the major powers of the galaxy. The humans took their designated spot on the lower floor. It was a small platform, barely large enough for the 3 of them. Around them, the alien representatives whispered and pointed. Some laughed. A being that looked like a tall insect with 4 arms raised a staff. "The council recognizes the human delegation," it announced, its voice translated into English through Minu's earpiece. "Stepped forward. Honored council members, we come today to request protection for our trade routes. Human colony ships have been attacked 3 times in the past month. Our people are dying." A creature with purple skin and too many eyes leaned forward from the High Council seats. This was Chancellor Vex, leader of the Empire. "Attacked," he said with amusement in his voice, "or simply reminded of their place." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Minu's jaw tightened, but he remained still. Continued as if nothing had happened. "We ask for the same protections given to all member species. The treaty clearly states." "The treaty," interrupted another council member, a being covered in thick armor plates, "was written for civilized species. You humans have barely left your home world. You are infants playing with technology you don't understand." More laughter, louder this time. Looked at Minu with worry in her eyes. He gave her a small shake of his head. "Stay calm." Vex stood up from his seat. He was tall, maybe 3 meters, and his purple skin seemed to glow under the chamber lights. "Let me be clear, humans. The routes you want to use pass through territories claimed by the Empire and our allies. You have no right to those paths." "We're not asking for ownership," said, her voice steady. "Just safe passage. We're willing to pay the standard fees." "Fees?" A serpent-like being hissed from the council seats. This was Commander Thrall of the Supremacy. "You think you can simply buy your way into the galaxy? You have nothing we want except your planets themselves." The chamber erupted in voices. Some aliens cheered. Others banged their appendages on their seats. The noise was overwhelming. Minu stepped forward to stand beside. His movement was subtle, but it drew attention. The room quieted slightly. "We come in peace," he said, his voice clear and strong. "We seek only to protect our people and trade fairly with our neighbors." Vex laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Peace, protection. Tell me, Captain, how many warships does your species possess?" Minu met his gaze. "Enough." "Enough?" Vex's laughter grew louder. "We know exactly how many ships you have. 200 small frigates, maybe 300 defense platforms around your home world. We have scout reports from your system. Your entire fleet could not defeat a single one of our battle groups." The chamber filled with mocking sounds again. Some aliens made gestures that the translation computers couldn't interpret, but their meaning was clear enough. Contempt, dismissal. An older being from the council, one wrapped in flowing robes, spoke up. This was Overseer Quinn of the Archon Collective. Its voice was dry and ancient. "Perhaps the humans should reconsider their expansion plans. The galaxy is not kind to the weak." Pulled up data on her tablet and projected it into the air above them. Images appeared showing burned colony ships and destroyed outposts. "These are our people," she said. "Civilians, families, children. They were attacked without warning." Vex waved a hand dismissively. "Unfortunate accidents. Space is dangerous." "These were not accidents," Minyu said. "We have evidence that these were coordinated attacks by enforcers." The room went suddenly quiet. Then Vex smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp. "Prove it." Began to speak, but Vex cut her off. "And even if you could prove it, what would you do? Sue us? File a complaint?" He spread his forearms wide, addressing the entire chamber. "The humans want to play at galactic politics, but they bring no strength to the table, only demands and whining." Commander Thrall rose from his seat as well. "The Council has made a decision. The humans will evacuate all disputed territories within 30 days. After that time, any human presence in those sectors will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly." Minyu and exchanged a look. Something passed between them, something that made stand a little. 30 days, repeated slowly. "You're giving us an ultimatum." "Be grateful we're giving you any time at all," Vex said. He turned to address the council. "I propose we close this matter and move on to important business." The other council members nodded or made gestures of agreement, the insect being struck its staff on the floor. "The petition of the human delegation is, this session is concluded." As the chamber began to empty, aliens passed by the human platform. Some bumped into them deliberately. Others made what were clearly rude gestures. One being, something that looked like a floating jellyfish, actually spat a glob of something at their feet. Minyu kept his face blank, gathered her tablet calmly, only showed emotion, her hands shaking slightly as she picked up the data case. They walked out of the chamber in silence. No one spoke until they were back in their small shuttle, sealed away from alien ears. Then finally broke. "They're going to kill us all. They're going to wipe out the colonies, and there's nothing we can do." Minyu sat in the pilot's seat and began the launch sequence. "Send the message." Turned to look at him. "You're sure, once we send it, there's no going back?" "They gave us no choice," Minyu said quietly. "They want to see us as weak. Let them keep thinking that for a little while longer." His fingers flew over her console. She typed in a code, then paused. "This is really happening." "Send it confirmed." Press the final key. A tight beam message shot out from their shuttle, traveling faster than light toward the Sol system. The message was simple, just 3 words and a code. "Protocol Titan, Alpha." As their shuttle pulled away from the assembly station, Minyu looked back at the massive structure. All those aliens inside, celebrating humanity's humiliation. They thought they knew everything about humans. They thought they had all the information. They were wrong. "How long?" asked. Minyu checked his calculations. "The colony fleets will hold out for 72 hours. After that," he trailed off. "After that they'll see," finished. "They'll all see." In the darkness of space, the small human shuttle turned toward home. Behind them, the aliens laughed and planned and divided up human territory like it was already theirs. None of them noticed the small smile on Minyu's face as his ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. None of them could imagine what was waiting in the dark. The alarm started at dawn on Nu. Colonel was drinking his morning coffee when the first warning came through. He dropped the cup and ran to the command center, not bothering to put on his jacket. Around him, the colony's military base erupted into controlled chaos. Soldiers ran to their posts. Pilots sprinted toward their fighters. "Report," barked as he entered the command room. A young officer looked up from her screen, her face pale. "Sir, we have 37 ships dropping out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the system. Signatures. They'll be in firing range in 20 minutes. Pulled up the tactical display. The enemy ships appeared as red dots, moving toward the colony like a swarm of angry hornets. Nu had a population of 50,000 people. Most of them were civilians, families who had come here to build a new life. "Sound the evacuation alarm," he ordered. "Get everyone to the shelters. Scramble all fighters. I want defensive batteries at full power." As his orders were carried out, opened a secure channel. "Colonel to Fleet Command, we are under attack, requesting immediate support." The reply came quickly, but it wasn't what he expected. "Acknowledged, Colonel. Execute Protocol Titan Phase 2. Hold for 72 hours. Reinforcements are coming." Felt a chill run down his spine. Protocol Titan. He'd heard rumors about it, whispers in classified briefings, but he'd never thought they would actually use it. "Understood," he said. "We'll hold." The first enemy ships entered weapons range. Watched as they opened fire, sending missiles and energy beams toward the colony. His defensive batteries fired back, shooting down most of the incoming missiles, but not all of them. 3 missiles got through. They hit the outer dome of the colony, causing explosions that rocked the entire base. Alarms screamed. Damage reports flooded in. "East sector is breached," someone shouted. "We're venting atmosphere." "Seal it," ordered. "Evacuate that sector and close the emergency bulkheads." His fighter squadrons engaged the enemy in space above the colony. The pilots were good, well-trained, but they were outnumbered. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. Pilot Nam led the main fighter group. His voice came through the command channel, calm despite the chaos. "Blue leader to command. They're trying to flank us from the north. Recommend we fall back to defensive position Gamma." "Approved," said. "All fighters retreat to Gamma, make them come to us." It was a fighting retreat, exactly what they'd trained for. The human fighters pulled back, drawing the enemy ships into the range of the colony's heavy weapons. The defensive batteries opened up, and 3 cruisers exploded in brilliant flashes of light. But it wasn't enough. The enemy kept coming. Across the galaxy, on the mining colony of Station, a similar scene was unfolding. Dr. Sara stood in the main research facility, watching as her team loaded sealed containers onto transport ships. The containers were marked with a strange symbol, a titanium-colored triangle. Nobody asked what was inside them. They didn't need to ask. They'd been preparing for this day for years. "How many more?" Sara asked her assistant. 7 containers left, Doctor. We'll have them loaded in 10 minutes. Sara nodded. Above them, through the transparent dome of the facility, she could see flashes of light. The attack fleet was bombarding the outer defenses. The mining station's small defense force was fighting back, but everyone knew it was just a delaying action. "Make it 5 minutes, Sara said. "We don't have 10. A civilian administrator named Song ran into the facility, her tablet clutched in her hands. "Doctor, the last evacuation shuttle is leaving in 20 minutes. You need to be on it." "I will be," Sara assured her, "as soon as these containers are loaded." Looked at the sealed boxes with confusion. What's so important about research equipment that you'd risk your life for it? Sara smiled, a strange expression given the circumstances. "It's not equipment, it's hope." Before could ask what that meant, another explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. "Forget 5 minutes," Sara shouted to her team. "Get those containers loaded now." Her team worked frantically. They lifted the heavy boxes using mechanical arms and rushed them to the transport ships. 1 container slipped and almost fell, but 2 workers caught it just in time. Finally, the last container was secured. Sara ran toward the evacuation shuttle with beside her. Behind them, the research facility began to collapse as weapons tore through its structure. They made it to the shuttle with seconds to spare. The pilot didn't wait for the ramp to fully close before launching. The small ship shot out of the station just as another barrage hit the docking bay they'd been in moments before. Collapsed into a seat, breathing hard. "We barely made it." Sara looked out the window at the dying station. Pieces of it were breaking off, floating into space. But in the distance, she could see the transport ships carrying the containers. They were safe. That was all that mattered. Back on Nu, the situation was getting worse. Had been fighting for 6 hours straight. Half his fighter squadrons were gone. The defensive batteries were running low on ammunition. The enemy had landed ground troops on the outer rim of the colony, and his soldiers were fighting them in the streets. Colonel's voice came through, strained and tired. "We can't hold much longer. We've lost too many ships." Looked at the tactical display. The enemy fleet had been reinforced. What started as 37 ships was now over 60. They completely surrounded the colony. He opened the secure channel again. "This is Colonel. We're being overrun. Status on reinforcements." "Hold the line, Colonel," the voice on the other end said. 48 hours remaining. You must hold." Wanted to scream. 48 more hours. They'd be dead in 4. But then he remembered his training, the secret briefings, the plans within plans. Protocol Titan wasn't just about holding out. It was about making the enemy commit, drawing them in, making them think they were winning. "All units," he broadcast on all channels, "fall back to the inner perimeter. Abandon the outer sectors. Everyone to the core facilities." It looked like a retreat. It looked like they were losing. And that was exactly what the enemy needed to see. The commander apparently thought so too. Intercepted a communication from the enemy flagship to their fleet command. "The humans are broken. Send more ships. We can finish them and move on to their home world within the week." More ships, that was what they wanted. Draw them all in, make them commit everything. Watched as even more red dots appeared on his display. The enemy was calling in reinforcements from across the sector. They smelled blood in the water. Good, he thought, let them come. Let them bring everything they have. As night fell on Nu, the colony was in ruins. Half of it was destroyed. Fires burned in the streets. But the core facilities still stood and the people were still alive, huddled in the deep shelters. Stood on the command deck, looking at the enemy fleet surrounding them. There were over 100 ships now, more than enough to destroy every human colony in this sector. Landed his damaged fighter in the hangar and came to the command center. His flight suit was scorched, and he had a cut above his eye. "They're going to finish us tomorrow, aren't they?" Pulled up a classified file on his personal screen. He showed it too. The pilot's eyes went wide. "Is this real?" whispered. "Very real," said. "And in 46 hours, every alien ship in this sector is going to wish they'd never heard of humanity." Far away on station, Song sat in the evacuation ship and opened her tablet. She'd been given access to files she'd never seen before. Files marked with the highest security clearance. As she read, her hands began to shake, not from fear, from excitement. "They don't know," she whispered to herself. "The aliens have no idea what's coming." Sara, sitting across from her, smiled. "No, they don't, but they will soon." All across human space, the pattern repeated. Colonies under attack. Defense forces fighting desperate battles. Strategic retreats that looked like defeats. And through it all, coded messages flying back and forth. Hold for 46 hours. Hold for 38 hours. Hold for 24 hours. The aliens thought they were winning. They called for more ships, more troops, more weapons. They wanted to crush humanity completely, to teach the upstart species a lesson they would never forget. And humanity let them think that. Let them gather their fleets. Let them commit their forces. Because somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune, something was waiting. Something the aliens had never seen. Something they couldn't imagine. The clock was ticking down. And when it reached 0, the galaxy would change forever. The Galactic Assembly was having a party. Chancellor Vex stood in the center of the main hall, surrounded by admirers and allies. He held a glass of glowing liquid and raised it high. "To the end of human expansion," he announced loudly. The gathered aliens cheered and drank. Some of them danced to strange music. Others discussed how they would divide human territory once Earth surrendered. "I'm claiming the mining colonies," said a reptilian being with golden scales. "They have resources my people need." "You can have them," Vex replied with a wave of his hand. "I want Earth itself. Such a beautiful planet wasted on those primitive creatures. It will make an excellent vacation world for nobles." Commander Thrall slithered over to join them. "My fleets report complete success. The human colonies are surrounded. Their defense forces are all but destroyed. They're begging for mercy." "And what do you tell them?" asked another council member. Thrall's serpent face twisted into something like a smile. "I tell them nothing. Let them beg to the void." In a corner of the hall, Overseer Quinn sat alone, watching the celebration with ancient eyes. The old being had seen many species rise and fall over the centuries. Something about this situation troubled it, but Quinn couldn't quite identify what. The door to the hall opened and Ambassador Lee walked in. The room fell silent. She was alone, without guards or assistants. Her face was calm, almost serene. Vex laughed when he saw her. "The human comes crawling back. Have you come to surrender formally, to beg for your people's lives?" Walked to the center of the room. Every eye was on her. She stopped a few meters from Vex and looked him directly in the eyes. "I've come to give you one final warning," she said quietly. "Withdraw your fleets from human space immediately. Cease all hostile actions. Do this now and we can still avoid catastrophe." The room erupted in laughter. Aliens of every species joined in, making sounds of mockery and derision. Vex wiped tears from his eyes. "Avoid catastrophe. Human, your colonies are burning, your ships are destroyed, your people are dying. The catastrophe has already happened to you." "Not to us," said, "to you." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens fell over from laughing so hard. Commander Thrall literally writhed on the floor in amusement. "Please," Vex said between laughs, "tell us, how will we suffer a catastrophe? Will you throw rocks at our ships? Will you send angry messages? Will you file a formal complaint?" Reached into her jacket and pulled out a small data device. She placed it on a nearby table. "This contains evidence of your war crimes, attacks on civilian targets, murder of non-combatants, violations of 17 interstellar treaties. I'm submitting this to the Council as formal charges." Vex picked up the device and crushed it in his hand. "The Council answers to me, human. Your charges mean nothing." "Then we have no choice," said. She turned and began walking toward the door. "Wait," Vex called after her. "Where are you going? Stay and watch as we celebrate your species' defeat." Stopped at the door and looked back. "I'm going somewhere safe. I suggest you do the same." She left the hall. The door closed behind her. After a moment of silence, the laughter started again, louder than before. "She's insane," someone said. "The stress has broken her mind," another agreed. Only Overseer Quinn didn't laugh. The ancient being stood and moved toward the door. "Something is wrong." "You worry too much, old one," Vex said dismissively. "Sit, drink, enjoy the victory." But Quinn left the hall anyway, following after. The ambassador was already in her shuttle when Quinn caught up with her. "Wait," Quinn called out. "What did you mean? What's coming?" Paused at the shuttle ramp. "You've always been different from the others, Overseer, more cautious, more thoughtful. I'll tell you this much, get your people away from the Sol system. The next 72 hours will be dramatic." "You're bluffing," Quinn said, but there was doubt in its voice. "You have no military power." "Don't we?" smiled. "Your intelligence services have watched our home system carefully, haven't they? They've counted our ships, measured our capabilities, assessed our technology." "Yes," Quinn admitted. "We know everything about Earth's defenses." "No," said softly. "You know what we wanted you to know. There's a difference." She boarded her shuttle and sealed the hatch. Quinn watched as the small ship launched and jumped to faster-than-light speed. The overseer stood there for a long time thinking. Then it returned to its own ship and sent a coded message to the Archon home world. Pull our fleets back from human space. Do it quietly. Do it now. Meanwhile, in Earth's solar system, something was happening. Admiral stood on the bridge of the Victory, humanity's flagship. Around her, the small human defense fleet waited in formation. 200 frigates and destroyers, pathetic compared to what was coming. "Ma'am," her tactical officer said, "long-range sensors are detecting the enemy fleet. They're assembling at the edge of the system." Looked at the display. Red dots appeared, dozens at first, then hundreds. The enemy fleet was gathering like a storm cloud. "How many?" she asked. "Final count. 2,000 ships, Admiral. Every major warship from the fleets. They're bringing everything they have." 2,000 ships against 200. The odds were 10 to 1. Any normal military force would have already surrendered, but just smiled. "Good," she said. "The more the better." Her communications officer looked confused. "Ma'am." "Open a channel to all ships," ordered. "Tell them to prepare for Protocol Titan final phase and tell them, this is what we've been waiting for." As the order went out, received a tight beam message from deep space. It was from Minister, Earth's defense minister. The message was simple: is in position, awaiting your signal. Felt her heart beat faster. After 50 years of planning, 50 years of building in secret, 50 years of appearing weak while preparing for this exact moment, it was finally here. The alien fleet began their approach. They moved slowly, confidently. Why wouldn't they be confident? They had overwhelming numbers, complete superiority. Chancellor Vex broadcast from his flagship. His voice carried across all frequencies. "People of Earth, this is your final chance. Surrender now and become servants of the Empire. Refuse, and we will turn your planet into dust." Picked up the microphone herself. "This is Admiral of Earth's Defense Fleet. Your demand is, if you want our world, come and take it." She could almost hear Vex's rage across the vast distance of space. "So be it. All ships, advance. Destroy the human fleet and bombard their planet." The alien armada surged forward. 2,000 warships, moving in perfect formation. It was one of the largest military forces ever assembled in the galaxy. Small fleet began a fighting retreat, falling back toward Earth. They fired their weapons, destroying a few enemy scouts, but it was clear they were overwhelmed, exactly as planned. "They're taking the bait," her tactical officer reported. "Of course they are," said. "Arrogance makes you stupid. Prepare to execute final retreat protocol and send the signal." A single message shot out from the Victory, traveling faster than light to a point beyond Neptune's orbit. The message was just one word: now. In the darkness of the outer solar system, Chief Engineer Bay sat in a command chair. Around him, thousands of technicians worked at their stations. The chamber was enormous, the size of a small city. When the message arrived, took a deep breath. He'd spent 30 years working on this project, 30 years of his life dedicated to this single moment. He pressed a button on his console and spoke into the microphone. "All sections, this is Chief Engineer Bay. Initiate primary systems. Bring the online." Throughout the massive structure, lights began to glow. Power cores that had been dormant for decades roared to life. Weapons systems activated. Shield generators hummed with energy. "Reactor 1 online," someone reported. "Reactor 2 online, all 12 reactors at full power." "Weapons systems charging," another voice called out. 80%, 90%, 100%, all weapons hot. "Shield generators operational. Navigation systems active. Life support nominal." The reports came in one after another, each system checking in. After all these years of secret construction, hidden in the outer darkness where no alien scout could see it, the greatest warship ever built by human hands was waking up. Opened another channel, this one to the bridge above him. "Admiral, this is engineering. The is ready. She's all yours." On the bridge, 15 kilometers above's position, Fleet Admiral Minu sat in the captain's chair. He'd been promoted from his role as a diplomatic captain. That had always been his cover. His real job was this ship, this moment. "Thank you, Chief," Minu said. "All hands battle stations. Prepare to engage stealth systems." He looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet advancing on Earth. 2,000 ships, thinking they'd already won, thinking humanity was defeated. "Captain Lee," Minu said to his tactical officer, "what's the status of our weapons?" Smiled a fierce expression. "All systems optimal, sir. Gravitational lances ready, fusion beam arrays charged, missile batteries loaded. We can engage at any time." "Good," Minu said. "Helm, plot an intercept course. Put us between the enemy fleet and Earth." "Aye, sir," course plotted. Minu leaned back in his chair. Through the massive windows of the bridge he could see the stars, beautiful and cold and infinite. Somewhere out there, aliens were celebrating humanity's defeat. They thought they knew everything. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "All systems," Minu ordered, "disengage stealth." The Titan-class battleship appeared in the space between the alien fleet and Earth. 15 kilometers of angular metal and advanced technology. Weapons bristling from every surface. Shields glowing faintly around its massive hull. It was alone against 2,000 ships. But Minu smiled anyway. "Let's show them what humans can do." The alien fleet stopped moving. On the bridge of his flagship, Chancellor Vex stared at the tactical display with his mouth open. Where there had been empty space moments before, there was now a ship. But calling it a ship was like calling a star a candle. The thing was massive. Vex had seen battle cruisers that were 2 kilometers long and thought them impressive. This human ship was 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull was angular and dark, covered in armor plating that seemed to drink in the light. Weapons pods dotted every surface. Shield emitters glowed with barely contained energy. What is that?" Vex's tactical officer whispered. Before anyone could answer, every communication system in the fleet activated at once. A human face appeared on the screens. It was Admiral Minu, though Vex didn't know that name yet. "This is Fleet Admiral of the Titan-class battleship," the human said. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "You have attacked human colonies without provocation. You have killed civilians. You have violated 17 interstellar treaties. This ends now." Vex recovered from his shock and began to laugh. "One ship? You bring one ship against my fleet of 2,000. You're insane." "Possibly," Minu admitted. "But you attacked us first. You laughed at us. You called us weak. You were wrong." Vex felt a surge of rage. "All ships, concentrate fire on that vessel, destroy it." The order went out across the fleet. 2,000 warships adjusted their positions. Thousands of weapons locked onto the energy cores charged to maximum power. On this bridge, Captain Lee watched the enemy fleet prepare to fire. "Sir, they're targeting us with everything they have." "I can see that," Minu said. "How are our shields?" "At maximum strength. But Admiral, we've never tested them against this level of firepower." "Then I guess we're about to find out. All hands brace for impact." Throughout the massive ship, 50,000 crew members secured themselves at their stations. In the engineering section, Chief Bay monitored the shield generators. The machines hummed with power, creating an invisible barrier around the "Here it comes," muttered. The alien fleet fired. 2,000 warships unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, fusion missiles, exotic weapons that bent space itself. The combined firepower could have destroyed a small moon. All of it hit thee at once. The shields flared brilliant blue, so bright that it could be seen from Earth. Energy cascaded across the invisible barrier like water hitting a stone that didn't move, didn't shake, didn't show any sign of damage at all. On the alien flagship, Vex's tactical officer checked his displays 3 times. "Sir, no damage at all." "Impossible," Vex breathed. "Fire again, full power." The fleet fired again, and again. For 90 seconds, 2,000 ships poured every weapon they had into the space around the human ship became a storm of energy and fire. When they finally stopped, their weapons overheated and energy reserves depleted, the still floated there. Untouched. The shields hadn't even flickered. On this bridge, Minu checked his damage reports. Status: shields at 97%, reported. Minor power fluctuation in Section 7, already corrected. No damage to the hull. Minu nodded. "Good, now show them what we can do. All weapons open fire." They came alive. From the bow of the ship, a weapon that the aliens had never seen before activated. It was called a gravitational lance, and it used focused gravity waves as a weapon. When it fired, space itself rippled. The beam passed through 7 cruisers in a straight line. The ship simply came apart, torn to pieces by gravitational forces that twisted their hulls like paper. 7 ships destroyed in one shot. The fusion beam arrays fired next. These were similar to alien energy weapons but far more powerful. Beams of superheated plasma lanced out from this weapon's batteries. Each beam hit an enemy ship, and each ship exploded like a tiny star. Then came the missiles, thousands of them streaming from launch tubes all along this hull. But these weren't normal missiles. They used quantum locking technology, meaning that once they locked onto a target, nothing could shake them. No jamming, no decoys, no defensive measures worked. The missiles found their targets and detonated. Massive explosions bloomed throughout the alien fleet. In 90 seconds, 400 alien ships were destroyed. The alien fleet broke formation, trying to scatter. Ships turned and ran in every direction, desperate to escape the monster they'd awakened. "They're retreating," reported. Minu's face was hard. "No, they started this war. They attacked our colonies. They killed our people. There will be no mercy today." He opened a channel that broadcast to every ship in the system. No quarter for those who prey on the innocent. The pursued. The massive ship moved faster than anything its size had any right to move. It accelerated, chasing down the fleeing alien vessels. The gravitational lances fired again and again, each shot destroying multiple ships. The fusion beams swept through formations like a knife through fabric. Commander Thrall's serpent ship tried to run toward the edge of the system, hopping to reach faster-than-light distance. The weapons locked onto it from 10,000 kilometers away. A missile salvo followed the ship, catching it just as it was about to jump. The Serpent's flagship exploded in a brilliant flash. Some of the alien ships tried to fight back. They formed small groups and concentrated their fire on the. It didn't matter. The Titan's shields absorbed everything they threw at it, and then the weapons answered back, destroying each group in seconds. Throughout the solar system, other human ships joined the battle. Admiral's defense fleet had been waiting for this moment. They swept in from the sides, catching fleeing alien ships and herding them back toward the. "This is victory to all human ships," broadcast. "Show no mercy. Make them pay for every human life they took." The battle became a slaughter. The aliens had come with overwhelming numbers, confident in their superiority. Now they died by the hundreds, their ships torn apart by weapons they couldn't match and shields they couldn't penetrate. On the Galactic Assembly Station, beings gathered around viewing screens that showed the battle through long-range sensors. The celebration had stopped. Now there was only horrified silence. "How is this possible?" someone whispered. "Where did that ship come from?" "We had intelligence reports. We knew everything about human military capabilities." Overseer Quinn stood at the back of the room, watching the carnage. The old being had suspected something, but even Quinn hadn't imagined this. The humans had hidden a weapon that changed everything. Back in the Sol system, the battle was ending. Of the 2,000 ships that had attacked Earth, 1,600 were destroyed. The remaining 400 had managed to jump to faster-than-light speed and escape, fleeing in terror. They floated in space, surrounded by the debris of the alien fleet. Its hull was unmarked. Its shields were still at 90% power. It looked like it could fight for another week without stopping. Minyu stood on the bridge, looking at the tactical display. Around him, his crew was silent. They just participated in one of the most one-sided battles in galactic history. It should have felt like victory, but Minyu knew what this meant. The galaxy had just learned that humanity was dangerous. That would have consequences. "Sir," said quietly, "message from Admiral, she's asking for orders." Minyu thought for a moment. "Tell her to secure the system, search for survivors. Any alien who surrenders is to be taken prisoner and treated well. We're not monsters." "Yes, sir." "And send a message to the other 11 Titans. Tell them to reveal themselves." His eyes widened. "All of them, sir." "All of them. It's time the galaxy knew the truth." Across human space, in orbit around every major colony, something extraordinary happened. Ships that had been hiding in stealth mode for decades suddenly appeared. Each one was identical to the 15 kilometers long, bristling with weapons, protected by shields that could withstand anything. 12 Titan-class battleships. 12 ships that could each fight an entire fleet alone. Ships that humanity had been building in secret for 50 years, using technology found in ancient ruins on Mars. The galaxy watched in shock as the Titans revealed themselves. 12 massive warships, each positioned to protect a human colony. A clear message: attack us again, and you'll face the same fate as the fleet at Earth. On this bridge, Minyu received a communication from Earth. It was Minister. "Admiral, the President wants to speak with you." The screen changed and Earth's President appeared. She looked tired but proud. "Admiral, you did it. You saved us all." "Not me, ma'am," Minyu said. "Thousands of people worked on these ships. Engineers, scientists, workers. They're the real heroes." "Perhaps," the President said, "but you commanded in battle. You showed the galaxy that humanity will not be pushed around. What happens now?" Minyu looked at the stars. Now we show them that we're not conquerors. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be left in peace. But if anyone threatens us again..." He didn't need to finish the sentence. The wreckage of 1,600 alien ships said everything that needed to be said. Throughout the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched the recordings of the battle. They saw the appear from nowhere, saw it absorb the fire of 2,000 ships without damage, saw it destroy an armada in minutes. And they were afraid. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was feared. Not mocked, not dismissed, feared. The age of humanity, being the weak newcomers, was over. The age of the Titans had begun. The Galactic Assembly was silent. No one danced. No one celebrated. No one even spoke above a whisper. The great hall that had been filled with laughter and mockery just days ago now felt like a tomb. Chancellor Vex sat in his chair, his purple skin pale and sickly. He stared at the floor, not meeting anyone's eyes. His empire's fleet was destroyed. Thousands of his people were dead, and all because he had underestimated the humans. The doors to the assembly opened. Ambassador Lee walked in, and this time she wasn't alone. Behind her came Admiral Minyu in his full military uniform. Behind him, a dozen human officers in perfect formation. The aliens in the room shrank back as the humans approached. Some actually fled their seats and moved to the far corners of the chamber. These beings who had mocked humanity were now terrified of them. "Walk to the center of the floor. She didn't ask for permission to speak. She didn't wait to be recognized. She just stood there and the entire galaxy listened. 3 weeks ago I stood in this room, she said quietly. I asked for protection for my people. I asked for the same rights given to every species in this assembly, and you laughed. No one laughed now. You called us weak, you called us prey, you told us to know our place. Looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every council member. Now you know our place. We are not prey, we are not weak, and we will never again be treated as such. Overseer Quinn, the old Archon, spoke up. Ambassador Lee, the council would like to formally apologize for. I don't want your apologies, interrupted. I want action, I want change, I want justice. She pulled out a data tablet and projected a hologram into the air above her. Images appeared showing the attacks on human colonies, dead civilians, destroyed homes, children crying over their parents' bodies. These are the crimes committed against my people, said. Crimes that this council allowed to happen, crimes that some of you encouraged. Vex finally looked up. What do you want from us? His eyes were cold. First, reparations. Your empire will pay for every life lost, every home destroyed, every ship damaged. The amount has already been calculated. 10 trillion credits. Vex gasped. That's impossible, it will bankrupt. You should have thought of that before you attacked us, Minyu said, speaking for the first time. His voice was hard as steel. Pay the reparations or face the Titans again. Your choice. Vex slumped in his chair. He had no choice at all. Second, continued, those responsible for war crimes will face trial. We have a list of names. They will be turned over to human custody within 7 days. Commander Thrall's replacement, a younger serpent being, hissed in protest. You cannot demand. Admiral Minyu took one step forward, just one step. The serpent fell silent immediately. Third, said, humanity will receive permanent seats on the Security Concordat. We will have equal voting rights with all major powers. Our trade routes will be protected. Our colonies will be recognized as sovereign territory. She looked at each council member in turn. And fourth, you will never threaten us again, because if you do, we have 12 Titan battleships ready to respond, and we're building more. The room erupted in shocked voices. More, they're building more. Smiled slightly. Did you think we'd stop at 12? We have shipyards across human space. We have the technology, we have the resources, and most importantly, we have the will. Every year, more Titans will join our fleet. In 10 years, we'll have 30. In 20 years, 60. An alien near the back called out, You're threatening us. No, Minyu said calmly. We're making a promise. Leave us alone, trade fairly with us, treat us with respect, and you'll never see our weapons again. But attack us, threaten us, or try to subjugate us. He let the sentence hang in the air. Nobody needed him to finish it. They'd all seen what they could do. Overseer Quinn stood up slowly. The Archon Collective accepts these terms. We agree to all demands. One by one, the other species agreed. Some quickly, eager to avoid humanity's anger. Others slowly, reluctantly, but they all agreed. They had no choice. Finally, only Vex remained. He looked at with hatred in his eyes. You've made enemies today, human. This isn't over. Minyu walked over to Vex's seat. That was tall, but from his seated position he had to look up at the human admiral. Actually, it is over. Your fleet is destroyed. Your military is broken. Your economy is about to collapse from reparations. You're in no position to make threats. But you're right about one thing, Minyu continued. We have made enemies. We knew we would. The strong always have enemies, but we'd rather have enemies who fear us than friends who despise us. Vex opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. Finally, he just nodded in defeat. The Empire accepts your terms, he said quietly. Pulled out a document. Then sign here, all of you. This agreement will be binding under galactic law. One by one, The representatives came forward and added their signatures or marks to the document. When it was done, held it up for everyone to see. "This is a new beginning," she said. "Humanity wanted to join the galactic community as friends. You forced us to join as warriors, so be it. But remember this, we don't want to conquer you. We don't want to rule you. We just want to live in peace. Give us that and we'll never raise our weapons again." She turned and walked toward the door. Minyu and the other officers followed. As they left, every alien in the room watched them go in silence. Outside the assembly, Minyu and stood by their shuttle. The admiral looked up at the stars. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" he asked. "Some will," said. "Others won't. There will be more conflicts, more battles." "Then we'll be ready." Nodded, "Yes, we'll always be ready now." They boarded the shuttle and departed. As they traveled back to Earth, received messages from across human space. The colonies were celebrating. The people were cheering. For the first time in human history, they were truly safe among the stars. On Nu, colonels stood in the rebuilt command center. The colony was still damaged, but they were repairing it. And now they had protection. A Titan-class battleship, hung in orbit above the planet. No one would attack this colony again. Pilot Nam landed his new fighter on the hangar deck. The old ones had been destroyed in the battle, but Earth had sent replacements. Better ones, faster, more heavily armed. Humanity was done being unprepared. On station, Dr. Sora returned to her rebuilt research facility. The mysterious containers she'd saved were being unpacked. Inside were blueprints and data files, information about even more advanced technology. The Titans were just the beginning. Civilian Administrator Song helped coordinate the reconstruction efforts. Families were returning to their homes. New buildings were going up. The mining operation was starting again. Life was returning to normal, but it would never be the same. The people here knew now that humanity could protect them. Far away, Overseer Quinn sat in its private chambers and composed a report for the Archon leadership. The old being wrote carefully, choosing each word with precision. "The humans have revealed themselves as a major power. Their technology is advanced, possibly derived from the first ones. Their military capability exceeds that of any single species, perhaps matching all of us combined. Recommendation: establish formal alliance with humanity. They could be valuable friends or terrible enemies. Better to choose friendship." Quinn paused and added one more line. "Note, they showed restraint in victory. They could have destroyed the entire alien fleet but allowed survivors to escape. They could have invaded space but chose not to. This suggests they meant what they said about wanting peace. A species with such power that chooses peace is rare. We should not squander this opportunity." On the Admiral Minyu stood on the observation deck. Through the massive windows, he could see Earth hanging in space like a blue jewel. His home, the home of all humanity. Captain Lee came to stand beside him. "Sir, we're receiving requests from 11 different species. They all want to establish trade agreements with us." "Trade agreements," Minyu smiled. 3 weeks ago, they were dividing our territory among themselves. Now they want to trade." "Fear makes people reconsider their opinions," said. "True, but we'll take the trade deals. That's what we wanted all along, to be part of the galaxy, not conquerors of it." Chief Engineer Bay joined them, carrying a data pad. "Admiral, I have the construction schedules for the next batch of Titans. 3 more ships will be ready within 2 years." Minyu took the pad and looked at the designs. The new Titans would be even better than faster, stronger. Humanity was learning from the battle, improving its technology. "Good work, Chief. Keep the construction on schedule. And thank you for everything. 30 years of your life went into building this ship. You gave us our shield." Smiled, "It was worth it, sir, every moment." As they stood there, watching Earth turn slowly below them, all 3 men thought about the journey that had brought them here. Humanity had been mocked, dismissed, attacked, but they had endured. They had prepared, and when the moment came, they had shown the galaxy what humans could do when pushed to the edge. Ambassador joined them on the observation deck. I just received word from the assembly. Our first official session as full members is in 1 week. Will you attend? Minyu asked. Of course. We need to show them we're serious about being part of the galactic community, but I won't go alone. I'm bringing a full security detail, and a Titan will be in orbit above the assembly station. Minyu nodded approvingly. Good, trust but verify. Exactly. They stood together in silence, looking at their home world. Somewhere down there, children were being born who would grow up in a galaxy where humanity was respected, where human colonies were safe, where no one would dare to mock them or threaten them. The cost had been high. Thousands had died in the battles. Billions of credits had been spent on the Titan project, 50 years of secret construction and planning, but it had worked. Humanity had its place among the stars, and they would never lose it. Far below on Earth, the president stood in front of cameras and addressed the world. Today, humanity stands tall. We are no longer the newcomers, the weak ones, the species to be pushed around. We are equals. We are strong. We are protected. She paused, letting her words sink in. But we must remember who we are. We didn't build the Titans to conquer. We built them to protect. We don't seek to rule the galaxy. We seek to live in it peacefully, trading with our neighbors, exploring new worlds, building a better future. Some species fear us now. That's unfortunate but unavoidable. We will work to earn their trust, but we will never again be victims. Never again will we beg for protection. We protect ourselves. The age of humanity as the galaxy's prey is over. The age of humanity as the galaxy's partner begins now. Let us move forward with wisdom, with strength, and with hope for a better tomorrow. The broadcast ended. Across Earth and all its colonies, people celebrated. But it wasn't a celebration of war or destruction. It was a celebration of survival, of persistence, of finally being safe. On this bridge, Admiral Minyu looked at a holographic display showing all 12 Titans in their positions across human space. 12 guardian angels, watching over humanity's worlds. He thought about Chancellor Vex and his mocking laughter. He thought about Commander Thrall's threats. He thought about all the aliens who had looked at humans and seen only weakness. They had learned better. The galaxy had learned that humans, when pushed, would push back. That humans, when threatened, would defend themselves with everything they had. That humans were not to be underestimated ever again. Minyu smiled and whispered to himself, "They mocked us, they called us weak, they tried to destroy us." He looked at the image of the Titans, magnificent and terrible in their power. They will never make that mistake again. And in the cold darkness of space, the 12 Titan warships stood watch, eternal guardians of humanity's future among the stars.